The hospital hallway still smelled like antiseptic and cheap coffee when my phone buzzed at 2:15 p.m. Mom had died in the crash at 2:14 p.m. The voicemail notification glowed on the screen. Mom's number. I stood frozen under the flickering fluorescent lights, the walls bleeding into shadows, and a cold wind that wasn't there curled around my ankles like invisible fingers. I stared at the notification, heart hammering. Her number, the one that should have gone silent forever. My hazel eyes widened in the reflection of the screen, and for one sickening second I saw twisted metal and flashing headlights staring back at me from inside my own pupils. I pressed the phone to my ear with shaking hands. Her voice came through, shaky, wind howling in the background exactly like she was still behind the wheel on that rainy road. "Baby," she whispered, "whatever you hear next, don't believe it. Please." The hallway lights dimmed in slow waves, as if the building itself was holding its breath. The screen showed her number with a time stamp that made no sense. 2:15 p.m. already happened. Ghostly handprints faded across the glass. The hallway behind me stretched endlessly into darkness, like the floor itself was pulling away from reality. I listened, blood draining from my face. A rainy windshield and crashing headlights flashed across my eyes like a nightmare superimposed on the world. My free hand clenched into a fist. The hallway walls began to warp and melt at the edges, clocks ticking backward in my peripheral vision. Before I could even breathe, a second message started automatically. My own calm, rehearsed voice from 3 hours earlier. "Mom just died in a car crash. I'm so sorry." I had never made that call. The hallway suddenly felt infinite, empty gurneys lining the walls like silent judges, lights pulsing exactly in time with my recorded words. My knees buckled against the cold tile. The phone slipped in my grip as the floor rushed up. My shadow on the wall stretched unnaturally long and began sprouting a second silhouette that moved a half second out of sync with me. I dropped to my knees, phone clattering between my hands. The screen still played my earlier voice. In the reflection of a nearby window, a ghostly duplicate of myself stood right behind me, staring with empty eyes. The phone started ringing again, Mom's number, pulsing with that impossible future timestamp. Cracks of light spiderwebbed across the screen like breaking time itself. My trembling fingers reached toward it, even though every instinct screamed not to. I answered. The moment the call connected, my breath became visible in the suddenly freezing air. Distortion ripples spread across the hallway walls, folding reality like paper. Mom's voice came through so close I could almost feel her breath on my ear. "Run." Inside the glowing speaker mesh, I saw the faint outline of her translucent lips. My eye widened in pure horror as the hallway blurred into streaks around me. She continued, voice breaking, "The crash hasn't happened yet, but it will the second you hang up and the timeline snaps back into place." Two hospital clocks overlapped in my vision, one frozen at 2:14, the other ticking forward to 2:15. While my shadow on the wall reached out with sleeves that looked exactly like Mom's coat. I dropped the phone in terror. It clattered onto the tile, screen still lit and speaking in her voice. My hands flew to my mouth as every light in the hallway flickered wildly, the timeline tension cracking like thunder. The phone lay face up on the cold floor. Mom's voice kept whispering softly from the speaker, while a faint, ghostly hand reached upward from the screen toward my retreating feet. pulling the entire hallway deeper into darkness. I backed away down the endless corridor. Behind me, the phone glowed like a dying star, while my own earlier calm voice began overlapping Mom's, the two recordings twisting together. The walls rippled like water about to break. At the end of the hallway, I caught my reflection in a dark window. My terrified face stared back. But behind my real self, the windows showed a crashed car and flashing ambulance lights that weren't there in the real world. Tears streaked my cheeks. The phone's dying glow cast long shadows that formed the faint outline of Mom standing right beside me. Both of us slightly translucent. Both of us out of sync with time. Her final words drifted up from the floor. "I love you. Tell your sister I'm sorry I never made it home." For one split second, the screen flashed my own funeral flowers before fading back to black. I stood completely alone in the now pitch-dark hallway. Only the phone's weak blue glow illuminated my broken face. The walls folded inward like collapsing time, and I knew I had just heard my mother warn me about a death that hadn't happened yet. I ran. Behind me, the empty hallway remained, the single glowing phone still lying on the tile, whispering Mom's last words into the void forever. Faint, ghostly tire. Skid marks slowly appeared across the floor, right where I had been standing. Subscribe for more chilling tales.